1. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. I'm Wayte Lightheart from the Prosperity and Health Alliance, coming at you live and large from Panama City, Panama. And I am pumped. I'm excited. I can't wait. We have got for you tonight my favorite, my ultimate distributor, probably the most popular distributor in all of Enagic, Siha Top. We started this journey 10 years ago. Are you in Bellingham right now again?
You know what? I finally made it home, brother. So yes, I'm in Bellingham.
Amazing. So for those of you who don't know, Siha and I got started together in this business about 10 years ago. And I'm going to let him take it off in a second. But basically, he came by my place. He'll get into the story. But I gave probably the worst 15-minute demo of all time. Sent him off to another friend. I wouldn't do this process, by the way. And he got excited about the business. And what was really beautiful about this relationship was I got started in Enagic because of the health benefits that I was excited about. And I only promoted the health benefits. And I talked about the health benefits. I didn't know jack about the business. I really didn't. And I'm a year into this whole thing. And this guy comes along and had a really solid business background, a really solid marketing background, really first class and all that. And he opened my eyes to what was possible. And I'm so grateful for that because I didn't get it before. And we hustled up and down the I-5. You set off some targets way back then. You dreamed big from the get-go. You said, we're going up and down the I-5. I'm going to have demos right down to Mexico. Then we're going across the country the next year. And then we're going around the world next year. And you delivered on every single one of those promises. Siha, how did you do it? What's the story? People want to know the deal. People want to know the challenges, the hardships, the wins, what you've learned, the whole 9 yards. Hit me, brother. I want to hear it. We want to hear it. We're excited. Let's go.
Wow. What an exciting night for me. I was looking forward to this whole day. I got up early. I did my morning routine with gratitude and then going through my list of things that I needed to do for Monday, went out for my jog, came back and just got ready for this, just got in the mindset because everything's about mindset. Even back then, when we first met 10 years ago, you said it was the worst demo. It was the best demo in the world to me. It was the best demo to me. You might have thought it was the worst. And I'm sure so many people that are watching tonight, and welcome everybody. I can't wait to see you all again. But, I'm sure there's people on the line that thought that their demo was the worst demo to someone. And that's what you just said and how you opened up. You said this was your worst demo and I've seen you demo and I thought it was awesome. But we all grow through this. And you know what? I didn't know it was the worst. I just got the information and I saw, what you had said. And it sparked something in my head saying, you know what? Maybe this could help me because I don't want to go down the medicine route. I didn't because that's what my health was compromised back then 10 years ago with acid reflux. And I just you know what? I don't want to be taking a Zantac. That's what my doctor wanted me to take before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And when you said, you know what, it was the water that you're drinking. And I in my head, I was like, no way. What do you mean water that I'm drinking? Water's water. But it was enough for me to you know what, let's give it a try. And you invited me back up to Vancouver, Canada. Again, I live in Bellingham, so it's about an hour away from door to door. And we went to another presentation, which was a live setting. Remember that at Sam's? We're reminiscing. So, folks, you're going to go back. You're going to go back in time with us, how we started. Because everybody has their start and has their story. And this is Wade's mind story. So Wade invited me to a presentation, and I was hesitant. I was skeptic. But the information that he gave in his worst demo, but the best one I've ever seen, made sense to me. When I did go to the presentation in a live setting, and I saw people, I'm one of those guys who I take a look at other people that are around me. I take a look at, what are their reactions to the information that's being given. Am I off key here? Am I on key? Are they crazy? Am I crazy? And you know what I would honestly say? I felt that we were in alignment for a better lifestyle. We were in alignment for better health. And we were in alignment for better wealth. And knowing what I know now, I know that at that moment, we were co-creating something together. I didn't know that at that time. And then your good friend Sam there, my eyes opened up on the business opportunity, and I had some point blank questions that I had to ask Sam, and he gave me those answers. He rolled out his genealogy, opened it up, showed me where his progress was, as a businessman and looking at profit and loss balance sheets for a living, I can, it's right there. And I knew that this wasn't made up. This was directly from Enagic, the genealogy, the figures are right there. I'm like, if this person, Sam, and I wasn't judging him or anything like that, but I was looking at, what he was doing, and he could do this in that short amount of time, making, back then tens of thousands of dollars per month. I'm like, wow, that was an eye opener. So that's how I started to look at it, Wade.
So let's take people back, because I think they need to hear the backstory before you came to that demo, right? And then we're going to start there, and then we're going to take people maybe through that early stage, maybe that first year, second year, and then kind of where you are now, what's happening, what are the lessons that you learned, what are the key points that people need to integrate for their business and for them to grow. But let's take you back to that moment. What was going on for you prior to coming to that demo? Now, first off, people may not know this, but you had an extraordinary level of success in the real estate world, in mortgage, as a mortgage broker. You want to talk about that, and then what led you into this?
Yeah, for sure. So I was living my dream right into college. I came up to Bellingham, Washington, to go to Western Washington University. My direction was in business economics, and I wanted to finish college with some work experience. So I was really blessed and lucky, and I got hired on at 19 years old at a mortgage company. And my mentor at the time took me in when there was no space for me in the finance world. But he saw that here I was going to college, but yet I wanted to get some experience, and I wasn't asking for a lot of money because I knew I was in college. I was an intern, as basically was what I was willing to give him, my time for his knowledge. I knew the payoff would be huge. So he allowed me to do that, and he made a position for me. And I learned it. I worked it. I tried to dissect it and understand it and become a master of it as soon as I can, in finance and in mortgages, that is. And in a very short amount of time, I started to make really good income for a college student, so that was 19. By the time I was 21, he made me a partner in his firm. And so I was a partner in his firm. And then by 25, I just felt like, I believe that I could, like any young entrepreneur or any young stubborn, 25-year-old who thinks he knows it all. I just felt that I could do it better. I just got out of college. I knew the .coms world. I knew the internet and all that was coming around the corner, and he was comfortable. And in business, I wasn't comfortable. He got comfortable. And again, at 25, I left to open up my own. It wasn't even planned. It was a time in my life where I just felt, time to grow, time to own it, time to be your boss, your own boss. I felt like I knew what I needed to know at that point, and I did. So at 25, I left. And in business, I've always tried to stay ahead of the curve. I've always tried to stay. What I mean by that, back then, online financing wasn't available. So we used to market in phone books. And so we marketed in phone books, and then the internet came, and we started to market in the internet, and was able to do loans all across the country, all across the US before people even thought about it. The production that I was doing in small town Bellingham, we outdid my little company, Top Mortgage Company, outdid all the local small banks and the credit unions, because they put out reporting each and every month. And so, a lot of the old bankers was wondering, how's this kid doing it? Honestly, all I was doing, I was staying ahead of the curve. I was staying, they got comfortable. I should say fat and comfortable. I was not. I was lean and mean and aggressive and hungry. And so I wanted to build. So I built from 25 years old, had my own. Everything was going, growth was astronomical, just a steady growth each and every year. And in the late 80s, early 90s, before Y2K, there's a saying, go big, build big or go big or go home. And I wanted to go big. So I put all my eggs in one basket. I invested back into my company. I invested in the real estate development world. And so I put every single dollar that I made back into that business. I had a waterfront office, had a staff of 7 full-time employees, and I was the only loan officer with another loan officer in the office, where most offices had like 20 loan officers and 2 processors. I was just the opposite. I had 7 processors and 2 loan officers because I knew that I could bring enough volume for them to do. So I was always backwards. I was always a numbers guy, and it was in any kind of business. It comes down to your numbers. So that's how I grew a very successful business, as you say. And I thought, you know what? Everything's perfect. My wife and I, we were married for a long time from the very beginning of my office till that point. We didn't have any children yet. We finally decided to have children after 9 years of being married. And in the 10th year was the year 2008. And if you guys all remember 2008 in North America, especially here in the USA, there was a thing called a recession, the big R. And I was hit right smack dab in the middle of the eye with that bullet. And it oxidized me. It stressed me. It really took my life. It took my fire. It took my spunk away. It took everything that I had, my gusto, away from me, because it was stress. When your business is selling money, which means that's what I was doing. I was selling money and selling real estate. But when the bank stopped giving you the money to sell, you have no more. You don't have a product. You have customers. You have clients. No matter how successful you are, your source has dried up. And that's what happened in 2008. I got really sick and really stressed, and my life habit to that point, I was living fat and happy. I'll be honest with you. There's 3 to 4 lunches because my office was right on the waterfront. We'd start, 10 o'clock late breakfast to a 12 o'clock noon lunch, and then a 3 o'clock lunch, and then come home, 6 or 7 o'clock and have another dinner with my wife, So I was just eating a lot. I was drinking a lot because that was part of that world. It was expected, and it was, it was fun until I started to feel lethargic and slow and sick and stressed, because now you don't have the cash flow coming in. Your health is deteriorating. I started to cough. Prior to 2008, I coughed for 7 years constantly. And in 2008 is when I coughed up blood on my white porcelain sink. And that, that scared the bejeebies out of me, because the only time you see blood in a kung fu movie is when that Chinese guy is coughing up blood and he's dead, right? He's the next guy to die. So I was scared. I thought it was the C word, and I didn't want to manifest it. I went down to the doctors and I said, "Doc, please look at my records. I have come here every single year for 7 years straight. And you've given me inhalers, you give me Z-Pak, you give me antibiotics, you give me steroids, you gave me all these medications. I took it like a Spartan. I wanted to get rid of this." Because that was the only thing I was taught by my parents. When you get sick, you go to the doctors and you get allopathic care. It was not working for me in 7 years, and I followed protocol. So the doctor sent me to an ear, nose, throat specialist here in Bellingham, and they stuck a camera down my throat, and they said, "Aha, you have burning esophagus." That's why they showed me the sidewalls was all red and deteriorating, and when I was coughing, I was spitting up the blood there. And so I said, "Okay, what do I have to do, Doc?" He says, "You got to take this little purple pill before breakfast, lunch, and dinner." And in my head, I was like, wow, that's $3 a pill. That's $9 a day. That's, $270 a month. All these the math of the money of what I was going to spend went through my head, because I work with numbers. But then instantly my brain and my heart said, forget about the money. The money's no problem. It's the chemicals that you're putting into your body. Is that what you want to be doing? And my answer to myself was absolutely not. There has to be a better way. So the doctor gave me a prescription to go to the Walgreens here locally. I would pick it up before I get home. He would give me a prescription. They'd type it out. It'd be there before I got there. That's how the system worked. I was in that system. You guys all know it. If you live here in America or even in Canada, same system. It's ready to go for you to pick up. They make it so easy. In any kind of business, if you can make the purchase process, the pickup process easy, people are going to follow, right? And I was just that I call that the sheep, so I was that sheep following. Well, I drove from the doctor's office and I passed Walgreens. I just went straight home. And, because in my mind, I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. I said, thank you to the doctor. But in my heart and in my head, I was like, no, thank you. I go home. The next day I wake up and I make a phone call to our good friend up there in Canada, your good friend and mine, Monsieur Alain Chateauneuf, who, sharing with him my illnesses and my stresses with finances and, my world crashing literally, because I knew he would understand, because he's in the real estate world. He would understand what I'm going through. And that's when he referred me to your clinic, Yaletown Holistics. And I didn't even know what the word holistic meant. I didn't, I just, honestly, I didn't know what it meant. I just knew it was something natural, maybe herbs, mushrooms, oils, maybe something like that. And that's as far as that I knew. But he said, go make an appointment with him and go see him, because Wade knows what he's doing. He's, part owner. He's one of the owners of the operations, and he'll take care of you. Coming from a good friend, you take their advice. Why not? So I took Alain's advice. I made that appointment with you. And if you remember, it was at the late in the evening, and, you didn't want to be there. And honestly, I didn't want to be there. I just wanted to go in and, just tell you what I had. Hi, Wade Lightheart, Mr. Wade Lightheart. You came highly recommended by a mutual friend of Alain. And, he says, you know what you're doing. I know what I got. I have acid reflux. Give me your oils, give me your mushrooms, give me your mojo, give me whatever you're going to give me, and I'll buy it and I'm out of here. And that's when you backed me up and you said, wait a second. Hey, what kind of water are you drinking? That's when you stopped me in my tracks. And you asked me that question. I remember just stopping and pondering for a split second going, what do you mean? What water am I drinking? Water's water. It's wet, And you're like, no, seriously, what kind of water you're drinking? I said, seriously? Bottled water, Costco. All the bottled waters, but especially Costco, it's $2.80 a case here in Bellingham. And that's when you pointed out, that's when you did your best demo you've ever done for See Hot Top. And that resonated, the information open, it opened my mind up, and I had to go deeper down that rabbit hole. And that's what led to the meeting at Sam's.
So let's, that was great. There's a lot to unpack there. I think one of the key components in your journey, in your first success in business, was there was mentorship to start you off until you were on your own feet and confident that you could grow the business. I think that was a really key point. Second thing, getting a reference from a friend of yours to, hey, check something out that could be of value to you.
Yeah.
Third, there was a crisis. There was a financial crisis and there was a health crisis. And I think it's important for people to understand that oftentimes people are in those states, but you might not know that, or they might not be showing their cards. I certainly had no idea that there was any challenges going on in your world at that moment, other than the physical ones, which out of genuine help, I said, hey, I think this can help you, take a deeper look here. Let's go through now. You've seen, you go to that experience, you realize you need your health better. You go to a demo, you see the business model, but what's going on in your life? What's going on in your home? And how did you make the jump from, hey, fixing your acid reflux to now you're going up? The next step was, bro, I need you to come up and down the road for 8 weeks, driving up and down the I-5. Well, how did that progress? Because I think it's really important for people to understand, not everybody gets started because of the health. Not everybody gets started because of the business, but there is a transformation that can happen for the people that it's right for. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I knew that I was going to have to change careers. That was an absolute thing in 2008. I knew that I wanted to be somewhere in the health industry. I knew the aging baby boomers. I knew the sickness rates in North America was just getting worse. I just felt and knew that it was a market that I can help. And being a businessman, an entrepreneur, I was always taught, if you can fix people's problems, there will always be a demand for you. If you can fix people's problems, you will be the highest paid person for that service. Whether you're an attorney, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a restaurateur, whether you're a trainer, whether you're a nutritionist, you're helping fix somebody's problem. Well, I knew that, I believe that I could help fix people's problems in the health industry, just like I have helped people fix their problems and the issues in buying their dream home. that was a fix. They wanted that. I had the fix, right? So I wanted to be somewhere in the health industry. And when I left, when I left my finance, when I decided to close its doors, wrap everything up, which was the first week of January, I did try the medical field. I went to my doctor. My good friend. I said, Doc, I want to do something in the health industry, and I want to sell pharmaceuticals. Because a lot of my friends were making that transition in 2008 from the financial world into selling pharmaceuticals. It was a really easy switch. And, to be honest with you, it was a $200,000 income and above. And I needed that just to survive. And, they said, my friend said, we can get you in. Well, again, I went to my doctor and I said, Doc, I'm considering going into the pharmaceutical industry. What do you think? And my doctor had advised me at that time, don't do it. He says, don't do it. There's so many reps out there. He says that, per day, he gets like 10 to 12 reps come in, and he's got his watchdogs, which is his secretaries, to shoo them away. He says, I'm a doctor. I know what's in those prescription drugs. I know that every 5 to 7 years, they're going to change up the formula just a little bit, remarket it and re-promote it as something else. And they're going to send you the reps to come to me to try to sell it to me and, give me football tickets and give me cruise ship tickets and give me all these entertainment. And he says, I don't need that. Nowadays, we can get online. We can find out what's there. He says, I would not advise you to go in the pharmaceutical industry, because doctors just don't respect them. And that's straight from my doctor. And I said, okay. I said, well, what can I do in the medical industry? And he says, if that's what you really want, he says, sell medical equipment. And he gave me an example. He says, if you were to sell a pacemaker and you came back in 2 months from now and you said, Doc, I need to show you the new pacemaker that our company has because it's lighter, it's made of this type of material, or the battery lasts longer. The doctor says, I'm going to have to sit down and listen to you because it's a medical equipment. So bam, my light switch came on, and I had clients. Being in the finance world, I could see who made the money. I know what a janitor makes, I know what a principal makes, I know what everybody makes in between. And I can dissect through that. And I remember having some clients that were younger, right out of college, doing medical equipment sales, making north of $500,000 a year. And I was like, that's where I need to be, medical equipment. I'm helping to fix a problem, right? Because there's the fix. And I prayed on it, and I prayed on it because it was one of those Jesus moments. I lost everything. I did connect with a good high school friend of mine who connected me with a guy in his church who owned a really big X-ray company. And they were looking to open up the West Coast side. They're like the third largest on the East Coast. So again, this is 2008, about February, March, and is when I got connected with them. Well, the same time that I was introduced to, I got hired on with the X-ray company. At that same time is when I also got introduced to the water, and I didn't buy right away. So because I was trying to see if I could make this X-ray business work, and I was seeing if maybe this water business might be an opportunity as well, and I could do both together because they're both sales position, and I was on my own time. At the same time, I was applying at everything in Bellingham, from marketing at the casino to being the advertising or finance manager at the local car dealers. Because again, I had zero cash flow coming in. So I had all these multitasking that I was trying to do, all these streams of revenue that I was trying to bring in. And I was going to grab at anything and everything because I needed money like I needed oxygen. I needed finance like I needed oxygen. And there was no security in any of those. So I wasn't sure what I was doing. So again, I tried the medical sales. They gave me a very small salary. I was driving all over. And in 2 months, with all the leads that they gave me, all the doctors' names and offices, I learned the knowledge. X-rays it's just a computer. It's not that hard to learn. I met with all these doctors. I traveled. I didn't have the money for the hotels. I slept in my car, and just so that I can go from one hospital to the next, the next day and just be efficient. And in 2 months' time of doing that work, working maybe 80 hours to 100 hours. I'm not kidding. If you add all the time on the road and computer time and everything else, it's 80 to 100 hours a week. In 2 months' time, guess how many X-ray machines I sold? 0. But in that same amount of 2 months' time, I was also introducing the Kangen water, and I had also bought in my machine. And in that 2 months' time, I was able to sell enough machines, like 8 machines, to pay off my unit. And so at the end of 2 months, I looked at, okay, I'm a result-driven kind of guy. Here I'm trying to sell X-ray machines, giving it 100 hours, giving 100 hours a week, and I get 0. And then I give Kangen water maybe 5 to 10 hours that I could spare just to pay off my machine. But when I was able to do that the same amount of time in a recession, you don't need to be an economist to figure out, your rate on return, your ROI, return on investment. $4,000 equipment, and I paid it off. And, at that time, I didn't think anybody was going to invest in a $4,000 equipment. But it worked for me, and the people that bought it worked on them. And that's when I looked at it and I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. It's the time of a decision that the decision is made. I quit the X-ray machine and I did this. I went full time. But let me back up a little bit, Wade. During that 2 months when I was trying to introduce the Kangen water and I was working for the X-ray company, I was 6 months behind in my mortgage. And I couldn't say that to you at that time. I couldn't say it to anybody. I've never been put in that position ever in my entire life. I've always had stellar credit to be in finance. They check you every single year, 2-3 times a year. You get audited every single year. So my credit, my finances were impeccable, were immaculate. And so I was embarrassed I was embarrassed for myself, for my family. I had never been put in that position. So you didn't know that that's where I was. And when I bought that machine, I did not have the money. I had to my name, maybe $1,200, $1,200. My mortgage, first and second mortgage, was $4,000. So when you don't make your payments for 6 months, you get foreclosed upon. And when you and I were traveling, trying to conduct business, we came home one day and I ran up the stairs because I saw a notice taped on my door. Well, I knew what that was. I didn't want you to know. It was something that I was going through. When I came home another day from work or from trying to find work, I see my wife in the kitchen holding a letter with tape around it. I knew what it was, but again, I just, looked at her and I could see that her eyes was filling up with tears. And I said, honey, are you okay? She says, yeah, what is this? And I walked over to her and I took the letter out of her hand. It was our foreclosure notice again, because they serve you many times over. And I said, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did wrong or what we did wrong or what we did to deserve this, but I promise you, I'll get us out of this. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, but I promise you. And at that time is when I bought the machine, like I said, on an Enagic payment program that they didn't check credit, and made my monthly payment. Because again, $1,200 to your name, you're putting down, back then it was $545 down for the Enagic machine, $225 a month. If I had $1,200, I knew that I could put the down payment. I would at least have 1 or 2 or 3 months to be able to pay on the machine. At the same time, maybe make a sale to pay for the machine. And that's the beginning of my Enagic career. I began at a -0. If there was above ground, I was underground. That's right. I already dug myself a hole. Now I needed to climb out of that hole. And that's when you and I, you didn't know this, but at that time, that's when the decision was made that I wasn't going to do the X-ray machine. And the only way that I could be successful with this was with your help, because I tried for 2 months. Nobody believed me about the water. I went to over 2,000 people in my contacts list. Guess how many of them replied back? 0. And the ones that did reply back is like, why are you selling water to us? We know that you're a finance guy, you're a real estate guy. What do you know about health and water? And I got that so many times. I was like, you know what? You're right. You are right. client, friend, prospect. You're right. So I'm going to call my friend, my good friend now. You and I, Wade, have got a relationship now. And I said, hey, buddy, I need your help. And I was going 100 miles an hour. I'm slowing things down right now, but because the light, the epiphany came on, and I was writing everything down, what we're going to do and how we're going to do this and how we're going to do this on a budget. Because as you remember, I didn't want to worry you, and I just want you to focus and do what you do best, and that's teach on the water. I'll take care of your hotel. I'll take care of your food. I'll take care of the gas. I'll take care of the accommodations, whatever. That's my job. I was your manager, and that's what I became. So I asked for your picture, remember? And I made the posters. I didn't even know how to make the posters. Usually I had secretaries that did all that. I had to learn. I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to do something that, okay, this is what you got to do, Siha. So I mapped it out for us, for you and I spoke it into existence because I knew that's what we needed to do. That's what I needed to do. You needed to hear how committed I was at that time. And thank God my energy resonated with yours, or we aligned, and you had the time and the heart to say, yeah, I'm coming with you for better or for worse. And you did. And we said, we're going to do this. We went down these tours month after month. I said, give me 8 weeks. Let's just go here. 1 week we'll do this area. 1 week we'll do another area. 1 week we'll do another area. And I got out of my comfort zone. I learned from you. I saw how you treated people. I saw how you did presentations. You gave it. You always play all out, brother. You always play out. That's something that I got from you from day one, and I hold on, and I try to make you proud by giving it my all as well. Because there would be times where we had one person out in the middle of the desert show up for the demo at the last day, and you did the best demo that I ever saw, and they didn't buy. It didn't matter. You gave it 100%. You never gave less than 100%. And because of that, I was not ever going to give you less than 100% of me. So we moved on, and our team started to grow, right? We started to get some leg. We started to get some action underneath us. And I just brought you back every 3 months, every 4 months, every 6 months. I just said, wait, we planned it ahead of time because I knew that you had other things going on as well. I respected that. And, our friendship and our respect, we earned it, through that time. And what I want people to get out of this is that I didn't know it all. I didn't need to know it all. Wade didn't know it all. He didn't need to know it all. We just had a vision, it had to start, whether it was my vision or Wade's vision or both, or as we went along, we grew together. And we've had many deep conversations. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And we were both ready. And then when you weren't really looking at the business, but you saw your checks, just in the first sale, that when I bought in, it was myself, Shelly with 2 machine and a Nespa and a land. So it was 4. And I believe you're a 4A at that time.
I was a 5A.
You're a 5A. Okay.
It was a nice chunk of cash.
Yeah. So if that didn't open your eyes, and if that didn't get you committed, I don't know what would, but it did. And it was perfect timing. It's perfect timing for you. It's perfect timing for me. And from that point on, I had to bring in income to raise my family. I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old wife, luxury cars, big house, you name it. I had it before, but I was going to lose it. And I didn't want to lose it. So I needed to derive income. And thank goodness, we had some really powerful people that signed up that wanted to build the business. Whether I helped inspire them to build the business or they were inspired to build the business themselves. What I know now, and I share with everybody now, is you need to have, you want to have at least 10 people on your team that are willing to do this business with or without you. It's a really small, simple number. But if you have 10 people that are willing to do this business, which is like myself and Wade, with or without Wade, I was going to do this. Right, Wade? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So that's what I'm looking for. And that's what, from day one, I was looking for that person that was willing to do this with or without me. But I knew that I needed to be the spark for them. And I knew that I needed to lead by example, like my good friend Wade led by example as a mentor and as a leader at that time to the best of his ability. I need to do the same thing. I don't know it all. I don't claim to know it all. I will never know it all. But I will do this. I will give you 100% if you give me 100%. If you give me 25%, I will give you 25%. Fair?
Absolutely.
That's
you touched on another. So now you're in the business. You're rolling. We're hustling up and down the I-5. You're setting up appointments like crazy. We're hitting 2-3 a day oftentimes. And we'd go on stretch for like a week straight, just banging them out. And then you would do the follow-up. At what point, and I think this is important because, in early stages when people are starting out, there's questions. They're not sure if this is going to work. They bring home the first check after spending all this money and it's like $285. And, like what, like your wife.
Yeah.
You're going to save our family with $285?
Yeah.
At what point did that switch for you, that you went from uncertain to like, this is starting to work? And then let's take us maybe going from that, that you kind of said the point where you switched and you got your machine paid off. You knew this was the goal. But then there was like as we went along, it was kind of like just to get out of where you were at. And then it came into this massive vision. And then it just created this unstoppable force known as Seehaw Top After, probably maybe a year in. I remember we went on a trip where you were at 5A and stalled out, and then we had a profound experience.
Yeah.
At what point did the business transform for you? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that in that early stages, they're at 1 or 2, they've got 3 or 4 sales, or maybe 5 sales, or maybe they're running into some obstacles. How did you blast through the doubt of maybe your wife, maybe also your own self-doubts? And was there any keys that helped you make that transition for people that are out there just starting out, or coaching people starting out?
Yeah, it was at the 5A mark. It was at the 5A mark. I knew that this was going to be a successful project at 5A because that's when Rich and Rochelle Dietz signed on. And they're dear friends of mine that I've known for 25 years to that point. And I've shared with them, what I was doing, when I first started, and it took them 5 months to get in. Then they got in because it worked on their animal. And then they saw, the opportunity that I was being able to do during a recession. Rochelle had come to me and said she needed help, to help bring in some more finances into the family, because she was helping Rich, her husband, just do his finance business, because we're all in the finance business. But she wanted to do her part during that time. And I said, Rochelle, I love you. You know me, but this is all that I know at this point in my life. And it's been able to pay my bills. And I can teach you because I know that you have what it takes to be successful at this. So she grabbed on and signed on and moved on and learned how to do the demos. So that was at the 5-month mark. And in another 5 months, they went 5A. They went 5A like pronto. And that allowed me to go to 6A. And I wanted to do that for your birthday. And we celebrated that there in California. So I had many whys. I didn't have the how. And that's what people get stuck on. I had so many whys of why I needed to be successful at this. I needed to help myself. I needed to help my family. And now I need to help my friend Rochelle. And I need to help my friend Wade, or succeed with Wade, because I wanted to give you a gift. And there's no better gift in this business or in any business or in any relationship when you can give your teacher you give back the knowledge that they gave to you. And you were my teacher, and I wanted to give that gift to you, and I was able to do that. So I had all these whys and not the how.
I think that's a really big important, because I think a lot of people get into analysis paralysis. You touched on something. 2,000 people, no results. You didn't deter. You adjusted, you pivoted, you found another way, you got some momentum, you made that shift. And I think that's really important for people to understand or listen to this. Hey, nobody gets this out of the gate. Nobody gets this right. I started just on the health side. We drove down the road and you said, hey man, I don't want anything to do with the health side of things. Right? You just do the demo and you do that stuff. I'm going to do the business stuff. I'm going to make the money. I'm going to be on my barbecues and eat my burgers, and I'm going to be eating my ribs and doing my French fries, all this sort of stuff. And I'm not here to disrespect that. It was just really funny. that a couple of years later, he's like, yeah, come on over to the house. I walk into your house. Your kids are like bringing me organic food. Your wife is doing like you're as deeply integrated in health as I was in 2 years. And I was deeply as integrated in the business side of it as you were. So there was a meeting of worlds and an open-mindedness that allowed us to kind of see both the two aspects, that the health and the finances. And of course, it led to peace of mind. At what point did you feel the business was sustaining that lifestyle that you were used to financially? But what was the difference between, because you're rocking the business, you're one of the top distributors, and you got an all-out massive action every year. I know you're in the middle of, thank you for taking the time. What was the difference between your success now versus your success in the mortgage business? Like what would the two things that you see different?
Well, before I say the success part, I believe why we are so successful is we really put our egos aside and we were coachable. I was willing to learn from you, and you were willing to learn from me.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to say it. I work with people where their egos are so big. It's like, really? I'm trying to help you here. I know it sounds so simple and so easy, but your ego is keeping you from your successes. And at that point, from the very beginning, you never had that with me and I never had that with you. We respected each other's knowledge and each other's input. We didn't agree on everything. Like you said, I don't want to do your lifestyle, man. I want to eat my burgers and have my pizza and drink my beer, right? And then 2 years into the project, we're eating all organic. There's nothing that's not organic in our home. My children have been vegetarian because of you, and I thank you for this. For 8 years, they've been vegetarian, and for about a year now, both of them, their choice, have gone vegan. And they read every label and everything else. But again, that lens from me getting out of my way, getting out of my ego, taking my ego out of the picture and just absorbing your knowledge, and then regurgitating it and sharing it and teaching it to my children and allowing them to make the decision. And that's what I do with clients. Here's my knowledge that was given to me, and I was so lucky to be getting it from a 3-time all-natural bodybuilding champion, a nutritionist that is to the top athletes in the country, that is a doctor that is Harvard trained and has taught over 100 surgeons to teach at the university level. A world-class nutritionist that just won't quit learning. All these people I'm learning now, I'm giving to you. So I say, for you guys who are just starting or you've been doing this for a while, and you want to progress forward, put your ego aside, be coachable, learn it, practice it, and then utilize it, give it back. My success began when I climbed out of the hole, in a sense. I have to honestly say it was about 2 years after being with Enagic, going on Enagic full time. So I went full time with Enagic from day one. I was committed. I had no choice. So in the second year, the reason why I could say that is because in the finance world, my busiest time in working was during the spring and summer, because that's when people would look for their homes. That's when people were moving and buying their homes. It was spring and summer, right? Well, in the second year with Enagic, guess what? I was able to take the best times off of work and enjoy my family and my friends. So after the second year, I was able to take off from July to August, or July 15th to August 15th. Each year was for 1 month. And when I say take off, that doesn't mean that I quit work. That just means that I'm not scheduled to do speakings anywhere. I'm not scheduled to be on webinars. All I'm doing is I'm taking phone calls, I'm emailing them, and I'm texting, because I can do that anywhere, from any beach, from any mountaintop, from any coffee shop, right? So you can do that when you have cash flow coming in. The cash flow was enough to maintain my lifestyle, pay my bills, where I was comfortable. That was after the second year. After the 5th year of being with Enagic, I've been with Enagic for 10 years now, but after the 5th year of being with Enagic, I was able to take a month off in the summertime and a month off in the wintertime. There again, my all-out massive action, where I don't come up for air. I'm working every day of the week with myself, with my teams, January, February, and March, and then I coast. And then summertime, I like I said, take time off. That's just time off of speaking. But come September, October, November, I'm all out massive action again. You'll see me flying all over the world doing demos and everything else because my kids go back to school in September. We played already in the summertime. So now they're back in school, so they're getting in the routine. They're not going to miss dad. We're all getting into our routine. So September, October, November, I'm working my tail off because American Thanksgiving is November 27th, usually the third or fourth week of November. So I'm working September, October, November. When it's Thanksgiving, I shut everything down. I'm on holiday mode, and we love the holidays. I always have loved the holidays. I want to be in the right frame, the right mindset. I want to be able to enjoy the holidays with my friends and family, not be pressured about bills, not be pressured about getting gifts, not be pressured about anything. I just want to go with the flow because I've worked so hard. And now the cash flow, just like in real estate, when you make a sale, and when you're conducting business, sometimes the sale doesn't come for another 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months. So everything that I did in September, October, November is now starting to see the fruits of its labor in December, in January. So I can take that last week of November for Thanksgiving off, all through the holidays, December, take my family to these cute small towns, Christmas towns, go shopping, do, family things, go snowmobiling, go skiing, do everything that's winter sport. Because and then enjoy Christmas, and then come January 2nd, I'm ready to go. I am so ready to go. January 2nd, it's a whole new year. It's a whole new Seahawk. It's a whole new team. It's a whole new everything. It's a whole new dream. And that's where we're at right now. We are still fresh into 2000 great team. And that's why I'm so pumped right here, right now, because everybody is still with New Year's resolution, still wanting to get healthy, wealthy, and prosperous, for the rest of the year.
We're running up about 10 to 10. So I want to be conscious of things. I want to go into a couple of things. First off, I think just about anybody, especially if they have a family, would envy your lifestyle. It's a fantastic lifestyle. You got a fantastic family. You contribute to people's health. You contribute to people's finances. It's a really good feel-good business. And you talk about your all-out massive action for 90 days, twice a year. Can you share with the level of success that you have, you've seen a lot of distributors come into your organization. People that got started, talked big, didn't do much. People that talked a little, did do great. Some people that talk big and live big. So tell me, what are the things that you would, based on, you've done 10 years in this industry, a lot's changed, but a lot hasn't changed. What would you say are the keys, the things, if a step-by-step, maybe 3 keys or 5 keys or the 5 things that someone listening to you right now that wants to live like Siha Top, they said, you know what, I love this guy. I want to be this guy. I want to have that success. I want to have that lifestyle. What are the things that they need to do and focus on? And maybe also, what are the things that they shouldn't focus on in that thing, if you get my thing? So maybe the 5 things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where's the distractions or the road bumps or whatever?
Absolutely. From day one to now, and I practice every day, and I share with everybody who wants to succeed in anything, whether it's Enagic or any other business, in life, in relationships, in health, and you have to have a vision. You have to have a vision of where you want to be in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. You have to have that vision. And I've always set or had my own vision, but I've included my friends and my family in those visions to help me see it through. And I've asked for them, what's your vision? So I can help you see it through. So the vision is the most important. That's your mindset. That's everything. The vision starts here, right? So your vision then gives you purpose. Your purpose is that's your why. Forget the how. That's your why. What's your purpose? My purpose is to help everybody in the Enagic business to get to the rank that they want to be. If it were for me to choose for them, it would for them to get to a minimum of 2-3, right? But that's not me. I can't do that for you. But that's my vision and that's my purpose. I'm not going to give you the how. I'm going to give you the why that we're going to get to 682-3. So the vision, the purpose, and then you set your goals. You make a game plan. You get with your upline. You get with your sideline. You get with your downline. You get with your mentors. Right? And then from the goals, because you've wrote it down, now you have to take action. Nothing happens without that decision that you're going to take action. And that action is where the rubber meets the road. And from the action, from the action, you stay committed and you stay focused. You stay committed and you focus. If you do those steps there, here's what you will get. All those lead to the result. And the result to me is the success. And your success is different than my success. But I want to share you what my success is. My success is freedom. The word freedom. Freedom from ills, freedom from pills, and freedom from bills. And Enagic has totally provided myself, my family, my friends, that freedom. And the fastest way to get there, the fastest way for you, me, and anybody to get there is to be the best you, to become the best you. I want to be the best Seehaw every single day that you see me. I want to improve by 1%, because in 365 days, I will be a whole new Seehaw when you see me in 365 days. And that 1% could be smile more. That 1% could be dress better more. That 1% could be listen more. It doesn't cost money to be 1% better. And if I do that, and if you do that, and everybody does that on our team, there's no reason why we all could not get to success and freedom. Those are my tips.
That's awesome. So for those recapping that vision, and I would say anchoring that vision to an emotional connection, that helps find your purpose, which is your why. From there, you set goals, you set a game plan, and then you take action. And I would say all out massive action, because that is definitely not a little bit of action, all out massive action, because that builds momentum. This is a momentum business. And then you stay committed and you stay focused. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. It doesn't always work out. People kind of take you off point. But if you stay committed and focused, that's what gives you the results. That's what really lets you experience the success that you want. And that ultimate success is freedom, and freedom from ills, pills, and bills. And to really activate one's potential to become the best version of yourself, the best person that you can become, not what anybody else can become, but what you become. And I think you've embodied that as much as any distributor out there. And before we go to questions, I'm going to say, what's the future looking like for you? Where is this all going for you now? You're 10 years into the business. You're as motivated and charged up as you've ever been. You're bouncing around the world. You're changing lives around the world. You're inspiring people. You're raising people up and stuff. What's next for Seehaw? And then we'll ask any questions.
Well, what's next for Seehaw is Mr. Shiro's plan. I want to commit, and I want to thank Mr. Shiro and Enagic for providing myself and my family with this amazing lifestyle. I understand what passive income means now. Before, I never knew what passive income was. I knew what residual income is. You have to work to get residual income a little bit, but with passive income, you put out all-out massive action at the very beginning, where now you really are, I call it retirement. It's passive income. It's a pension that you're going to get it with or without, whether you do anything or not. But I cannot stop doing what I do because I love it. How can you stop helping people? How can you stop, seeing smiles on people's faces? How can you stop getting hugs? How can you stop traveling the world? How can you stop, doing your hobbies that you want to do? I want to learn how to fly. I am going to get my pilot's license this year. So these are things that it's because of Enagic and Enagic lifestyle and putting and doing all those things that we need to do daily. Good habits. Good habits leads to good results. And that's what's in store for Seehaw. And if I could share or leave you guys with something, and I love this statement by Les Brown, because no matter where I'm at, whether I was digging myself out of the hole or right now, still climbing, finding a higher peak, Les Brown says this: stay hungry, hungry. So stay hungry. Mr. Shiro says stay healthy. With Mr. Wade, it's always stay happy. And with so many of my great love around my life, stay humble. So that's my message to everybody tonight.
Well, I know Siha, you've actually just blown away and over delivered as you always do. And, it's been such a great experience. When we got, I'll share this with everybody. People go, well, how do I become that? And how do I get the attention of my upline? How do I do that? And one of the things that you did right from the get-go, and my mentor taught me, he said, how do you tell? I said, how do you tell when you have a superstar distributor? And he said, they're calling you. And when you got started with this, you were calling me, you were setting appointments, you were a coachable student, but you were an actively coaching student. And even despite that, the situation, the financial situation, you always made me feel great. You always made me feel appreciated, and you always worked your tail off. And so it was really easy to work with you. And I think that's a really important lesson for people who say, oh, my upline is this or my upline's that, or like, you know what? Make your offer enticing and share with them how you're going to contribute. And you're on that. He said, man, we're going to get you to 6A of million. And you did. I'm forever grateful because, you're a big part of the contribution that's allowed me to enjoy the success that I've had in Enagic. And in a lot of ways, you far surpassed anything that I'll ever do because you've really taken it to the next level. And that's the beauty of this business. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can be the top distributor. The top distributor probably hasn't even started in Enagic yet. Mm-hmm. The greatest distributor yet, and it's wide open, and there's never been a better time to be involved with that. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording here, but we are going to open up. If you got a burning question for Siha, we're going to turn that on right now. So let me just stop the recording. So we got that.